Okay, so this is a video game review for Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 for the PC. This game was released in 1997, and I've got to say, while in its day it was very, very good, it hasn't aged well, so you can kind of guess where I'm going to go with this review. This game is the forerunner of Jedi Knight Jedi Outcast, another great game that I've reviewed, and it's the sequel to Dark Forces. It's a first-person shooter, and while there is lightsaber combat of sorts, you won't really use it all that much. The story is basically this. A Dark Jedi here, Jarek, is searching for the Valley of the Jedi, the location of which is stored on a disc in the possession of a robot called 88 here, who took it from a Morgan Katan after his death. Morgan Katan was a Jedi. Jarek happens to be the killer of this fella, and Kyle Katarn, as you see here, is, well, at the beginning he's asking 88 who his father's killer was. 88 tells him before trying and failing to have Kyle killed off because he is in fact working for Jarek. That might sound all very, very confusing, but actually it's not so bad, and I'm trying to squeeze it into 20 seconds. The first few missions involve you travelling through Nar Shaddaa, trying to locate Robot 88 and taking your father's disc back from him. At this point I don't think Kyle Katarn really knows that the Valley of the Jedi is on it. He just kind of wants his father's stuff back. Now, and it's only later he finds out about his Jarek's evil plans and feels that he has to stop him. Now, as you can see, this game is very grey, and while it feels very Star Warsy, it also can be a bit samey, especially after, say, the first 8 missions or so. While the graphics are very much well down on my list of important considerations. The colour palette, however, and the drawn-out nature of the levels, which are greater in number than Jedi Outcast, it's the next game in the series, but shorter to complete. They can be a bit depressing, and I'll tell you what, they're more fun than they look. Definitely. I mean, as I said, I really enjoyed this game the first time around, and I still got quite a bit of enjoyment playing it this second time round. And there's some really good level design, and all the music is very much authentic Star Wars stuff. There's plenty of moving conveyor belts, hitting switches, puzzles, moving platforms, and terrifying chasms, plenty of which to fall into. And these are all very nice touches indeed. On the flip side, there is quite a lot of dead feeling at times. Just barely any NPCs, and the worst thing that I can say about it is, once you've played it after a while, there is almost that feeling, and it may differ from person to person, but I was kind of like, what's it all for? I'm not talking about the story, I know what the story is about, but that feeling of what was it, did they just add a lot of filler, is not a good feeling to have. Now, after the first few missions, you do acquire your father's disc and seek to return to your father's house after getting a vision about the Valley of the Jedi. Apparently Kyle doesn't believe that such visions warrant a visit to his local GP. It turns out that there's plenty of baddies who have been to your father's house already, and there are still plenty around to kill. Now, Morgan's house is, well, you can only describe it as huge. I mean, if there was MTV Cribs in like the Star Wars universe, then it would definitely be deserving of an episode. I mean, it's got its own pit of lava and waterfall and stuff like that. I mean, the rent on that must be insane. But anyway, he's gives you plenty of places to explore, and eventually, when you do get through this level, you're rewarded with your very own lightsaber. Now, unlike Jedi Knight Jedi Outcast, it doesn't really change the game's mechanics very much. You do use it on the Jedi lightsaber duels, which you'll see in a little bit, but it doesn't. Unlike Jedi Outcast, and I want to be straight about this, I was reviewing that first before I came to this one, so you can see how that would have affected, how I kind of felt about this game. This just there's no comparison really. In Jedi Outcast, it's very good controls. I mean, keyboard and mouse, it just works perfectly. And in this game, it just doesn't. Now, I recognise that this is early technology. They were getting to grips with certain things, so you got to cut it a little bit slack. I mean, this is a game from 1997, 12 years old, and obviously shows. But I've got to be honest when I'm giving my reviews, and it does feel quite dated. On the other side, look at this particular bit of After Your Father's House was really nice touch. All the winged beasts were terrifying back in the day. I know it looks quite funny now because of the graphics, and they look quite blocky and stuff. But with all the sound effects that the creatures made, and the wind as you were traveling over this chasm, like one wrong move would send you tumbling down. So long as you were quick saving, there wouldn't be usually much of a problem. But now there are some later differences in levels, and as I said, the level design generally overall is quite nice, although it can feel a little bit dead at times despite the authentic Star Wars music, just because, well, you're just kind of wandering around. But it's very kind of, as I said, because of the graphics and the type of colour palette they used, it does feel very samey after a while. I mean, that's not such a bad thing. As I said, you can easily get into this, and it's when you do get into it, it's like, man, they give you so much, so many levels for your, how much you paid for this game. So in a way, on the one hand, it's great value. On the other, it's there is that feeling of kind of, well, maybe buyer's remorse or player's remorse, in a sense. It was kind of like, what was that all for? Now, as I said, I really like the cutscenes. As cheesy and badly acted as they are, they're much preferable to like in-game engine cutscenes. And like, we'll just have to take a quick look at the lightsaber battles. It's basically a move around, click, and hope you hit something. Now, you could say that sounds a bit like Jedi Outcast, but it just doesn't work as well, and basically what you see is what you get with this one. It's a very sloppy affair, and as I said, even for its time though, it wasn't that great, to be honest. That was actually one of the worst features about this game, the lightsaber battles, because they were actually pretty tough to actually properly fight. I never knew which way my lightsaber was going to swing, and it was just it's badly done, but as I said, I don't hold that too much against it. So let's see. I mean, what else really is there to say? It's when you play a Star Wars game and there is a lightsaber, I suppose it's like the main feature of it, isn't it? And you kind of hope they get it right. On the other side, I mean, as I said, there's plenty of good things about this game, and you can still play it. So long as you don't, so long as partly you haven't played Jedi Outcast too recently, and that you're just looking for a decent shooter with plenty of puzzles, that you will definitely get out of this game. And if you can look past the graphics, then you've got a game that it will keep you busy for a long time to come. And yeah, definitely a must for any Star Wars fan. So in conclusion, there are some games that age well, there are others that don't. Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight does not age well, especially after you've played Jedi Knight Outcast. Outcast took everything that was good about the game and just made it a whole lot better. Graphics, level design, level variety, and lightsaber combat, force powers, everything was streamlined, made it just almost perfect. This game, just once you've played it and you come back to it after playing Outcast, it just doesn't the magic that was there just is gone. And by 2009 standards, you liked the game, but I'm going to be a little bit harsh to it. It's understandable. So in the end, I give this game a 6.8 out of 10. And that's me.